Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Pamela Thomas. You can call me Pam. Welcome to Online with the CMC. This morning, Barb Scoby will be presenting Fabricated Realms, Exploring Textile Realia. Her slides with the notes are currently on L2 if you want to access those, and she will answer questions at the end unless if it's something that's pertinent to the slide that she's covering. So go ahead, Barb.
Okay, thank you, Pam. My name is Barb Scoby, and you've heard this spiel before. I've been with IHLS since December of 2021, and I'm also a cat mom to 5 spoiled cats. In January of 2024, I went to a conference where the author Jeff Vandermeer was the keynote speaker. His speech inspired me to create a pollinator garden in my yard, and the picture on the far left is what I started with. That's where they put in our new septic system. Um, and to my surprise and my family's amazement, I not only kept the plants in the garden alive the whole season, I enjoyed the heck out of it. You see, I've been an indoor cat all my life, and no one could imagine me digging in the dirt and getting it under my fingernails and liking it. I am so ready for spring to arrive, though, and I have pre-ordered 4 varieties of plants to add to the ones I planted last year. And aren't they pretty, the 4 on the right? And in the future, I'd like to try to add some sponge landscaping, but I think that's a little above my skill level. Okay, so today I will discuss some of the terminology that I came across while preparing this presentation. Describing marked fields that play an important part in a bib record for Realia, and share some examples. There will be time for questions at the end, but feel free to enter any questions you may have during the presentation into the chat. Okay, so here's the problem with creating a title for a presentation before you've done research. TDLR, I should have not put the word textile in the title. During my research on this topic, I found that the consensus is that textile, no S, was the term that was originally used, and it referred to only woven fabrics. These days, the term textiles, with an S, is preferred and refers to a broader range of materials. Okay, that makes sense, I think. So what is the difference between fabric and textile? According to fabricdesigntreasures.com, fabric usually refers to items that are designed for clothing, like shirts, trousers, etc. Textiles can be made into clothes, but they can also be used for other things like bed sheets, carpets, etc. Fabric is made through weaving, sewing, or stitching techniques, whereas textiles are only made from woven fibers. Fabric is a specific type of textile that has a clear use, clothing. All other textiles are not fabrics and have other uses or no defined use. So some of those statements are contradictory, right? To me, this is kind of like the I before E except after C kind of thing. So I've decided to focus on the realia and fabricated aspects of these records instead of trying to figure out what it, textile is versus a fabric. Okay, so in the fields of note, first of all, I wanted to touch on the fixed fields, just the format and the type. So the format for this is our visual materials, and then the type would be a 3-dimensional artifact or naturally occurring object. Let's see, okay. So then in bib formats, which I have the link to it later on in the presentation, it indicates that the 007 field is optional. I didn't put a 007 field in any of my examples just because it would just be a Z and then the delimiter and B and Z, which is like, unspecified. So I didn't see a reason to put it in there. I could be wrong though. For the 264, for the items we're talking about today, they're manufactured, not published. So the indicator should be undefined and then a 3. Okay, for the 336, the content type, I did include the link here for the value list that you can look up, and it'll tell you what kinds of content you can put on there. For media type, the media type is unmediated, but here is another link for where you can go to find the mediated, or to find the other values. Okay. For 338, the carrier type for these is object, but once again, there's the link. And 340, the bib records for the examples that I gave have 2 340 fields, one for the physical medium and the other for color characteristics. And we'll see all of that in my actual examples too. Okay. The fields on this slide are used to describe attributes of these objects. They're quite different from the attributes of books, videos, and other materials in that you, in the 388, you put the time of creation, time period of creation, and in a general note that tells about the fabric, the color, condition, session number, and other miscellaneous details. The 541 is cool because it tells you, was this a gift? And if so, who donated it? And when did they donate it? And what accession number did the institution assign to it? All right, so in the 655, since these are objects in Realia, I wanted to add subject headings that were from something other than Library of Congress. So I added some AAT headings. If you click on this link, on the slide, it will take you to a list of different vocabularies that you can use for the 655. In the 830 is the collection information, and 856 is the location information. All right. So on to the fun part. The first 3 records that we will look at were created by Brigham Young University for items in their historic clothing collection. Since the items described are unique to BYU and the institution described the item as it fits them, I decided to copy the records and add, delete, or shrug and leave alone some fields so that the record worked for our purposes, but didn't mess with what BYU has going on in the record. Like one instance of shrug and leave it alone is the measurement of the items in inches. They have the centimeters measurement as well, so I just left those alone. And I did not add any of these to OCLC just because I didn't want to add confusion. Okay, so first this dress, this is their item description for the dress. And then here's the record that I mocked up. If you want to see the record that I used as a starting point for this, it's 127-424-6082. And that'll be in my notes, so you can look at that. As you can see, there are some AAT in the 655 fields. And let's see, and this was a gift, and it was anonymous, and they received it on October 15th of 2008. And then the accession number is in the 541E, and there's that accession number. Let's see. I thought it was interesting in the description in the 520, it says kimono sleeves with double ruffle of self fabric and cream lace. And I'm like, wait, is that a typo? What is self fabric? So I looked it up, and Textile Glossary said that in sewing, it's a fabric piece or embellishment made from the same fabric as the main fabric, as opposed to contrast fabric. So I learned something new with that one. Okay, next is the suit. This is really cool. And this one, the condition is excellent. Like I think the other two were the condition was fair. So, but yeah, this is really well preserved. Okay. So looking at this record, did I want to touch on? Okay, so for the 340s, you can see textile, even though, yeah, okay. And then another 340 for polychrome, and this was, made in the 1940s. And let's see. And this was a gift from from Karma DeJong Anderson. And once again, I have in the AAT, in the 655s, I have suits, jackets, garments, trousers, all of that. Okay, let's see, did I want to go over anything else? 264, like I mentioned before, it's, blank and then 3. And then this was made in the 40s, so the date will be between 1940 and 1949 because we're not exactly sure when it was produced. All right, this next item is a chemise, and looks like it was folded up for quite a while. Let's see. And all of these pictures I got from the Brigham Young University website. So I wanted to make sure to mention that. Let's see. So for this, it's cotton fabric and it's textile, and I chose monochrome, but then I'm thinking that, well, I don't know, because some of it has yellowed, but I get it was originally in white fabric, so I don't know. I put monochrome. Let's see. And then for all of these, the title was supplied by the cataloger. Like the cataloger at BYU is the one that decided to call this chemise. Let's see. So yeah, and then in the 655s, you see the AATs again. And then, okay. So my last example is something that I just decided I wanted to have fun. So I created a bubble wrap suit for myself since I'm very accident prone and people say I should wear bubble wrap. So I created this with Playground V3, and as you can see, it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to. After about the 10th try, I was like, okay, this is fine. I'll deal with it. It's a protective suit made out of bubble wrap, duct tape, and has cat hair as the trim. And it has an actual cat inside of it, which is something I did not intend to happen because, it was a suit for me. But at a Playground V3 just wanted that cat in that suit. So yeah, I'll live with it. And gosh, I wasn't going to go there, but I'm feeling a bit punchy. So I just want to say, would this be considered instead of personal protective equipment? Would it be personal protective equipment? Sorry, ouch. I know that was pretty bad. Okay, so these are the resources I used for all my definitions and all of that. And now, if you have any questions, please ask them.
Barb, we do have a question. Jill wants to know, was that a cone flower, the bicolor flower that you have on your about?
It is. Yes, it is.
And she also said that the dimensions aren't given in the suit, not the protective suit, but the suit from the BYU collection.
Oh, okay. I forgot. I guess.
Well, that wouldn't have been you. It would have
Oh,
been the cataloger who
yeah. Oh,
cataloged it.
yeah.
And I did put the link to the evaluation, so please fill that out. Does anybody else have any questions? Oops, got 2 new messages. Hang on. Oh, Jill just said it's adorable. Okay, do we have any questions about textiles, fabrics, how to catalog them? Okay, oops, and let me let you guys, you can now unmute yourself if you want to ask your question. Jill says, has CMC ever cataloged fabric for a library? Go ahead, Barb.
I cataloged, oh gosh, when I first started, a flag. It was an Abraham Lincoln flag. And it was made out of like polyester or something. But I tried to find the OCLC record for that one and I couldn't find it. But that's about all the fabric I've cataloged.
And I know Sherry cataloged that Red Cross 1918 Roll of Honor quilt for Groff
Oh,
Memorial. Mm-hmm. Okay, are there any other questions? Oh, Kathleen says we have a World War I uniform we are wanting cataloged. What information will we need to supply to get it cataloged, material, etc.? Yeah, a title, dimensions, and you can use the cataloging online request form if you don't want to send that in, because I'm imagining you don't want to send that through delivery. So yeah, any information that you think that we could use to describe it. Oh, and yes, pictures. Thanks, Mary. So Mary says, if I can't find a fabric type I want in the OCLC bib formats for my 340s, where else could I find it?
well, and those RDA, what did I just say? Where you can click and see what all the RDA terminology, the values. You just like I just use textile if you can't find what you're specifically looking for. And that's what I did actually. So thank you, Mary.
And if it isn't in those, you can add things to the 340. You just wouldn't add a subfield 2. It doesn't have to be in the terminology.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
Sorry, I misled people, but that's good to know.
Up in the Mary provided a link.
Yes.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? And we should be able to send the recording out probably early next week. And just a reminder that we moved the April session a week forward. So it's going to be on the 17th and not the 10th. And that one is Archiving Government Studies, Cataloging Government Documents. And then next month, on March 13th, we'll be doing cataloging equipment, gadgets, gears, and gallimiphry. And then in May, the power of a name, examining the importance of authority records. That'll be May 8th, and those are all at 10 a.m. And if you fill out the evaluation form, we are always looking for suggestions for upcoming sessions that we'll be meeting probably next month to get a list of those for FY 2026. So we would much rather cover topics that you guys are interested in than us trying to come up with something we think you'd be interested in. Okay, are there any other questions? Well, if not, I just want to thank you all for attending, and I'm going to stop the recording.